Vanessa Gill picking up the other places in our senior development. So that's by age, by the way. We just have effectively the teenagers, the up to 19-year-olds in the young class, and the 20-plus-year-olds in our senior class. Development classes, these bikes, the odd 250 out there, but they're mostly 150s, 125s. If they're a 250, of course, they're a pre-bike to the production era, so it means that they're more akin from a power point of view. So these are bikes. Now, some of these people have been buying these bikes for under $1,000. So, hey, a motorsport for under $1,000 when you can still do 150. These are capable of almost 150 kilometres an hour on a road race circuit. I just think it's fantastic, and exactly as the name suggests, it is a development variety. And there goes young Caleb that time. Jesse. It's Jesse, young Jesse Stroud. Now, the reason that Jesse started after the others is the guy's too short. He can't be on the grid and actually be putting his foot down because he's too small for that. You can go road racing from the age of 13, and that's how old he is. But I'll tell you what, for a 13-year-old, he'd be the smallest in his class at school as well, Spider. And it means he's literally propped over against the wall and starting out of the pit lane. So he's last away, but he won't be last by the time the checkered flag comes out, that's for sure. No,
and they had modified his bike yesterday. They'd taken the standard seat off and just put straight foam on there. So maybe he was just late starter because he was starting off the grid last weekend, but you know, you got a set of eyes as well, Neil. I don't know what happened. He might have just been late to the start line, but in the end, it doesn't matter.
For a Stroud, I couldn't believe that.
yeah. At the end of the day, the guy's out on the track, and mate, he's just got a smile big enough to swallow his ears. He's enjoying his motorcycle racing so much. I was looking at an interview on Andrew Stroud this week, and he said Caleb was going racing, but Jesse must have asked him about 100 times about doing the Nationals before he finally investigated whether he can. And great to see him, and he weighs about 30 kilos, so power to weight ratio is pretty good. But here we have over the start finish line again, number 86 Andrew McLaughlin, followed by Paul Skinner.
Chris Sutcliffe there.
Oh, sorry, Chris Sutcliffe. Yes.
Yep. Andy's back in second at the moment, so
misread the screen. It's my fault. Should have gone to Spec Shavers.
Oh, it's not so much about what you can see, Spider, it's what your expectation is, because I'd have done exactly the same thing. You're thinking that Andy's going to be the man of the moment up there, but hello, there's a change of format, as it were. And yes, indeed, to acknowledge the lap record, it has been acknowledged with our results, but maybe that's going to be corrected, we're unsure. But hey, let's be official about this, because according to our computer records, it is a lap record for Jacob Stroud in our Superlight class, a 104.682. Spider, and to me, somebody needs to be official to actually say, with a proven record, that somebody's proved to be better than Jacob, because this is what we've got to go off, right or wrong.
Yeah, we have put the question out on the internet, and no doubt if you put something wrong, people will correct you. If you do it right, no one will pat you on the shoulder. But if you put something out there wrong, and maybe that's what we have to do. Having a bit of a think about Scotty Moyer too. We said he had his this might be his first race win. Well, no, he had run at Timaru, but remember he won also at Taupo a couple of years ago and set the Superbike lap record.
He won the TT, didn't he?
His home track, yeah, he won the New Zealand TT at Taupo. So Scotty Moyer there, the old brain ticks over slowly sometimes. Here we go.
Oh, look at that.
What sort of split between first and second? 22 thousandths of a second. And it is Chris Sutcliffe, followed by Andrew McLaughlin, Paul Skinner. Bill Denovan's moved up over and above Jacob Pearce. Jack Condon's there in sixth place. Turiana Banks is moving up here. We haven't mentioned the Banks name. We've got Turiana, the young girl from Pororua. Her sister's running in the number 11 in the lightweight class on the KTM 390 as well. You can recognise her by the ponytail hanging out the back of her helmet as well. So great to have Turiana and the Banks family down here. Stephen Wintringham got pushed down by Turiana Banks. Ben Wilson, Vanessa Woodley-Gill, Mark Robertson, Jesse Stroud there moved up from 16th place to 12. Neil Ritchie was dead right when he got a pit lane start. He said he won't be at the end of the race, at the back of the race at the end of it, didn't you, Neil?
Well, in fact, I'll tell you what, the best news that you've said in that entire good gabble there, Spider, was the fact that Steve Wintering was overtaken by a young girl, and I'm going to go and remind him of that. Always like Steve, of course, one of the quality organisers for the Burt Munro Challenge, a keen worker here for the Southland Motorcycle Club. Does a great job. He's often doing the beach race. He's been organiser of the beach race for the last few years, and did a very good job in actually riding the Burt Munro replica that they'd made, and he took that along the beach, and that was one of the biggest thrills that he's had in a while, and great to see, and love just the participation by Steve. A good man you can have a bit of banter with during the event. Of course, his daughter Francie races as well, and Francie will be out there. She's in 13th place at the moment, so go Stephen, love your work out there at the moment on the 27. I think that's a little Honda 2-stroke 250 from memory, so a small little bike out there. So probably a little bit better placement France of the year. Well, he's probably got 100 cc's on me, but all the same, for young Tiriana, great little ride in there. But hey, Chris Sutcliffe for that advantage over Andy McLaughlin, Paul Skinner, Phil Denevan, young Jacob Price and Jack Condon. For those of you that are here at the track, take a look at Jack's bike, the number 8. It gets my mark as best presentation for a bike. It certainly is a sparkling bike, and why shouldn't they be? Although these bikes, despite most of these machines first out of a production good 20 years ago, we're talking 90s, most of those 150s, I'm pretty sure, from memory.
Yeah, pretty well. Probably the newest things out there is the Honda CBR 150, but then maybe that's the best presenter one as well.
Yeah,
so
well,
yeah, getting a bit long in the tooth. We've got no official lap record for the development class, but we've got a street stock 150 class, which I think are pretty similar, and that's running the 116s, and that is Tyler Lincoln from the Hawke's Bay. 116.8. We're running in the 118s, and not too sure. The specifications must be pretty much the same, but Tyler Lincoln went on to 125s and that, and yeah, good to see Vanessa Woodley-Gill doing coming this far south as well. She's done it before with her father as well.
There we are back again just to come in, Spider. There's Saki over Andy, and look at that, the margin was slightly greater at 0.027, so 0.027, so less than a third of 1 second. So a fine little margin in there, and all the time can't recall a time that we've seen that Andy's had his wheel in front of Chris, although we know it's been very close at times. So close, let's hope it continues that way. Back to you.
Well, the gap is closing up, and there was about 12 bike lengths as they went round the big sweeper, but Andy McLaughlin closed up, and they go through Castrol. It's closed up. We got 4 bike lengths down to 2 bike lengths. It's down to 1 as they come out of the Corley Ford. They disappear out of sight. We can't see the bikes disappearing off into the distance over to the hairpin, so maybe a change of position there. I was mentioning Jock Woodley, Father Jock Woodley of Vanessa Woodley-Gill. I see in the newspaper in Blenheim this weekend he's announced his retirement from motorcycle racing again. Been racing since the 70s, and yeah, he tried to retire a couple of years ago after selling his RG250, and then somebody else grabbed an RG250 and said, can you have a ride on it, and that sort of thing. So he got addicted again. Got second at the Port Nelson Street races this year. I think he won at Greymouth at Labour Weekend, but has announced his retirement. Look at this out on the front straight, and number 86 takes a win. Number 86 takes a win. Chris Sutcliffe, Andrew McLaughlin, 0.138. A massive battle there for 3rd and 4th place. Who's it going to be? It is indeed Phil Denevan over and above Paul Skinner, but that gap there is less than 60 thousandths of a second. So tight racing here for the development class. We haven't even got a chance to mention who's senior and who's junior. So Jacob Pearce goes through as the first of the juniors home. So it is senior, 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 senior. Then we've got Jacob Pearce, Jack Condon and Ben Wilson goes through. Takes first, second and third in the junior class. These are separated by ages. There's other classes, junior, senior, are separated by CCs. That's an old thing from the old Isle of Man TT days. But here it's about